straight to Qatar, where the first of the quarterfinal matches in the FIFA World Cup is set to take place just a little bit later on. Croatia and Brazil, and also obviously we're looking forward to Netherlands and Argentina. Now we get to speak to sports anchor Benjamin Leshoro, who's been giving us the lowdown in terms of what is happening down there in Qatar, what are the fans saying, reacting to some of the matches. But right now we're heading over to the quarterfinals. Benjamin, good morning to you. How is the atmosphere leading up to the quarterfinals?
Good morning to me. Good morning to everyone at home. I think everyone's just appreciating the 2 rest days after a very frantic and fast-paced group stage plus the round of 16. I think the rest days this time around came rather belatedly. Normally you'd have a situation where there's the group stage of the World Cup, and then immediately there's about 2 rest days before the knockout stage, the first knockouts round, which is the round of 16 starts. But this time around it was put into one, which is a bit strange for a lot of people, and it went through 18 days of straight World Cup football. So I think a lot of people, including the players themselves, were just appreciating the past 2 days of rest. The players would have gotten to see some of their family members that traveled to Qatar to watch them play. So just breaking away from camp a little bit, it would have been nice for them before they start the quarterfinal stage. So I think everyone is just starting on a fresh, clean slate now, feeling like, okay, the World Cup is now in full force at a very important stage, the quarterfinal stage, with the margin for error very, very small, if any.
Do you find that a bunch of, or majority of the fans have gone home, or some of them have stayed behind despite some of their nations knocked out of the competition? Well, a lot of the supporters that were here did stay in and around Qatar. Some of them came from Dubai, some of them from Saudi Arabia, places like that. So a lot of them have stayed around. I saw a lot of support from Morocco when they played Spain in one of the last 2 games of the last 16, and they had a lot of support purely because this is an Arab country and Morocco is one of the Arab countries, and they celebrated that win very, very much. A lot of the buildings here, the big buildings here, bore the flag of Morocco after that win, and you got the sense that they were supporting the only Arab team that's left in the tournament, with this tournament being the first to be held in an Arab country. So they have supported Morocco a lot. You do find some of the other supporters that are still here are supporters that stay in and around this region in the Middle East. So those who did travel from home, I suppose, with the teams being eliminated, would have gone back home. No point in staying at a tournament where your team has been eliminated. And a lot of the supporters that I spoke to actually in the early stages of the tournament did say that they bought tickets for the 3 guaranteed matches, which is the group stage matches, and then they'll take it from there. So if the team qualifies for the round of 16, the quarterfinals, then they try and get their hands on the tickets going forward. But the guaranteed tickets were 3 matches, win or lose. So they got the tickets for those matches initially. I mean, just the other day we heard from FIFA President Gianni Infantino saying that he thinks probably this is the best World Cup since the history of the World Cups. Do you agree with him?
I think Infantino is just playing politics here to me. You remember that the FIFA Congress is going to take place next year, where
a new president is going to be elected, and Infantino has already indicated his ambition to be re-elected as FIFA president. And this is him just trying to lay a foundation for his case, for his campaign to be re-elected. That's at least how I see it. He's trying to be known as the man who engineered the hardest World Cup, or the most unlikely World Cup, because this is, in the history of the World Cup, Qatar is the unlikeliest place to host a World Cup. And to call it the most successful ever or the best ever, I think he's just pushing that agenda to be known as the guy who engineered the best World Cup in a country or in a region that was seen as something that could never happen. So he's just trying to lay the foundation for that. In terms of the talent that we've seen at the World Cup for pure footballing reasons, I think Brazil and South Africa will have a lot to say about this being the best World Cup. South Africa had a pretty good one. We saw some wonderful talent there. I think even the team that won, Spain, in 2010, was just full of superstars, and they played some of the best football we've ever seen played. The same with Germany in 2014. And for me, in all the World Cups that I've seen played, Brazil has to take the trophy in terms of just pure footballing reasons that we saw in 2014.
Well, Benjamin, let me just let you go. We'll catch up with you a bit later. I'm sure you're going to be at one of the sand parks a bit later. But the first match up, Croatia-Brazil, kicking off around 5 o'clock. And then the second game of the day, Netherlands-Argentina, that game at 9 o'clock. And definitely we will hear from Benjamin later on with regards to what the fans have to say with this fixtures. Benjamin Leshoro out in Qatar, newsroom reporter. But just building up to the quarterfinals, obviously, those are happening a bit later. With that said,